Hello, folks. Welcome to episode 27 of GingerLion's Agrarian Skies Modded Minecraft Let's Play. As you can see, I am switching things, doing a little bit of oddness over here in my fields. So let me explain it to you. I've got more than enough soybeans. In fact, I've got more than enough soybeans and lettuce and tomatoes and all of the things that I have out here, including wheat, that I'm going to switch almost all my fields over to oak saplings. So, because I want to complete the quest, punch tree, get blisters. For that, I need 100,000 oak wood. So, I'm going to... Oh, and another announcement that I need to make so that all of you are aware. Because I have another little project that I'm about to get started working on for Minecraft and YouTube, I'm going to switch these episodes back down to the half-hour mark, like all of my previous Let's Play episodes were. If some of you don't like that, or some of you particularly do like that, I'd love to hear it in the comments. That'll give me some feedback as to whether I should try to focus on hour-long episodes, or if I should do what I should make myself a little bit more flexible by producing half-hour-long episodes and being able to work on other projects. So, I'm going to do a little bit of work and switch these fields over, and I'll be right back so that we can see what else we're going to work on this episode. Okay, folks, so I've finished setting up my fields out here. All of them now have oak saplings in them, except the tomato fields, because they didn't have planters under them. I decided not to mess with that. I could have put down more planters, but I think this will work just fine for a while. So all of these are now set up with harvesters that are going to tear down the trees, planters that are going to plant the trees, and over time the crops that are already in the fields will be replaced with oak trees. That makes me happy and increases the likelihood that we're going to be able to complete this quest. Let me see. I haven't actually slept in game for a long time, and it's just about nighttime, right? Yeah. So let me do that while I talk about what it is else that I want to do. I'd really like to clean up some quests. I feel like I can now do the even more storage quest. I'd like to do the not the end quest like I had talked about. And there's the possibility that I might fly up and get some clouds for Neptune's Cloud Fantasy. So those are the things that I intend to focus on this episode. I want to come check on my cobblestone assembly line. We now have one sextuple compressed cobblestone. So let me turn off NEI and put in the schematic for septuple compressed cobblestone. Bang. That recipe now exists. So I do have my system outputting every cobble it produces to here, which clearly isn't enough to keep up with these, so I'm going to have to set up a couple more igneous extruders. In fact, I'm probably going to set up like 100 igneous extruders, but that's for another episode. So, there. Now I can sleep. And take a look at where the quest is on making processors. On making storage. So what I had decided was that because this uses up quite a lot of basic processors, I requested my system make a bunch of basic processors, and I'm going to go throw those basic processors into the same system that I use for smelting my ores. This is the advantage of having produced a system with sort of an input buffer attached to it, is that I can just run over here and say, here, take all these processors, and it will take them and feed them into the system. So, all of these furnaces are going to be working on cooking processors for a while. That'll pump out 5 times as many processors as the automated system that I have over here producing processors will. And that'll, in turn, mean that the quest for assembling this Terra storage cluster and finally turning it into a 16M storage will occur much faster because I'm feeding the process through multiple lines. So, now, our next 2 steps are not the end and a Neptune's Cloud Fantasy. So, we wanted to make endstone. Let me show you how. Endstone is can be made with 250 millibuckets of resonant ender on some sandstone in a fluid transposer. That's one ender pearl a piece per sandstone. Doesn't seem like a great deal to me. Or, if I pump obsidian into a liquid casting basin and pour resonant ender on top of it, I only have to use 50 millibuckets. That's a fifth of an ender pearl. And I think that's a much better deal because I have a lot of good obsidian. So, and I need, if I'm remembering my quest book correctly, and for the hoarding, not the end, I only need 1,000 of it, so that's going to be much easier. If I drop in 200 ender pearls, it will run the whole thing through and stop. So I'm going to collect the other things I need and then show you how the setup goes. Okay, so we're going to be working with the smeltery, which I took apart for the moment just to make sure it doesn't function while I'm busy setting up this process. So basically what we need is to put obsidian in here before this pulls out molten ender into it. However, it won't pour molten ender. Just a moment, let me show you. If we go in here, we take a look at this molten ender, resonant ender, in the smeltery, it won't pour out and create a block of resonant ender. I don't believe. It has to have a chunk of stone in here for it to pour over. So let's test it and see if that works. First, what we want to do is make sure that we're exporting obsidian into this. And I'm going to connect the cable right now just to ensure that it exports obsidian like I expect it to. Yep. And because we have an import bus in here, it's automatically pulling it out. So that cycle's not useful to us. We want a precision import bus here. And what we're going to do is we're going to tell it that it's only allowed to pull out hoppers. That's silly, right? Well, yes, but we're about to tell it that it's only allowed to pull out end stone. And that makes much more sense. So I'm going to remove this whitelist. And now this will pull out anything that ends up in the smeltery. And this, I'm going to shut off to make sure that it doesn't try to, like, make ingots of ender or something. Okay, so now, the next thing that I want to do, while I have this export bus over here, I'm not going to use it. So I'm actually going to pull it out of the way so that it doesn't cause us any problems. And so let's put the smeltery back together. Let the multi-block reform. Fire, spots, good. Now, I'm going to take this hopper, and I'm going to put a chest on top of it. I'm using a diamond chest, but I certainly don't need to, because that's how many ender pearls I need. It's 13 stacks plus 8. That's exactly 200 ender pearls, which should do the job for us completely. And there it is, filling in ender pearls to melt them. Seems like melting ender pearls is going to take just a little while, so I'll be right back once that's done. Okay, so now we have resonant ender filling up our smeltery and cycling through. Now, let's go ahead and turn this on by whacking it with a wrench, and it should immediately pump some resonant ender out into this obsidian, and that makes us some end stone. If I right-click on it, we're about to see, yep, it worked. So, I want to tell this import bus that it's allowed to import end stone. So, now, as soon as it realizes that it can do that, let's find out if this process, nope, it looks like occasionally we get ourselves a block of solid ender. So, how am I going to deal with that? Well, what I'm going to do is this. I am going to reinstall an export bus here. And I know this is not, the most efficient way of handling this problem, but right now I'm just fine with that. I'm going to remove this cable. I'm going to put a export bus here, face it toward the hopper, and tell it should export blocks of solid ender. And now I'm going to go over here and tell this bus that it's allowed to import blocks of solid ender also. So what's going to happen is anytime that a block of solid ender ends up in here, that's going to suck it out and try to stuff it back in the hopper, which, given that the hopper is now empty, will work. The block of solid ender will come in here, and it'll end up being almost instantly melted by the smeltery, and all will be well. So I'm going to let this run, and we'll be back in just a minute when it's done. And so here we are, ticking away, making endstone every 5 or 10 seconds or so. So that should process, and I'm just going to let it do so and move on to the next quest that we wanted to do, which was Neptune's Cloud Fantasy. So the first thing, I don't think there's any tool that I know of that breaks clouds efficiently. So I'm going to bring a pick, a sword, and what do I have for... I have no shovels whatsoever. Let me step and see if I have any Thaumcraft tools that might work well. I have an axe. We can try the axe of the stream. And just for grins, let's go ahead and make ourselves a diamond shovel. There's absolutely nothing wrong with having such a thing around. Sticks. And I have enough diamond to do such a silly thing. So, up and away. I love the air sigil for things like this. Now, for those of you who've never played with clouds before, you should be aware that while you do sort of fall down into the cloud a little bit, you don't fall out the bottom of the cloud. Oop. Which also means you can't fly up through a cloud. And as you can see, the air sigil is not the most easy to control method of flight. I could have brought a potion, but that's okay. Ooh. Nope. Can't get it there. There we are. So now I'm standing in a cloud, and let's try. The pick is not too bad. Let's try the sword. Turn it into a sword. There we go. Nope, nothing good about that. I'm going to turn on magnet mode. I know it's not exactly the approved methodology. Nothing works faster than the pick, so let's go ahead and use the pick. So, I'm going to spend just a little while standing up here in the clouds. Now, if you didn't have the air sigil available to you because you hadn't worked your way through blood magic or whatever other reason might exist, you could always choose to use one of the flight potions that was granted during a quest reward. Those are perfectly acceptable ways of working your way up into the clouds, or you could even just pillar up to it and be prepared to pillar back, to dig your way back down when the time came. So, those are all acceptable ways of handling getting yourself up into the clouds so that you can mine them like this. So, like I said, I'm going to spend just a little while mining out the cloud, and I'll be back once I have enough to complete this quest. And there we go, folks. That's 64 and 36. That should be 100 clouds for a manual submit. And get myself a half a heart and a greater reward bag. Let's see what it is. A sword of splintering. Nothing useful to me, but that's fine. And for me, the easiest way to get home, because we all know flight is not the most controlled thing, well, I could do it down there. Might as well just use my warp book to return home. Easy enough. Also, by the way, when I've been picking up paintings from killing hellfish, that's where they go. So, let me take a look at my endstone quest. 87, not bad, but certainly nowhere near the 1,000 that we need. And let's take a look at my... well, my 16 meg storage request isn't in there, so let's see. Aha! The 16 meg storage completed. And let's see... and it's because I dumped so many processors into there. I pumped almost 2,000 into my system all told, and it looks like that was 1,000 too many, which is fine. I will use those processors probably for my own storage purposes. So, let's go ahead and submit that quest. Even more storage, manual submission, it gives me it back along with 2 hearts and a reward bag. That's a nice quest to have completed. 2 full hearts, just making sure they're valid, and 1 greater reward bag, including mutton jerky. Again, not a thing that I need, but this 16M storage, my drives are completely full down here, but I'm willing to bet there's at least 1 drive with nothing on it that could probably justify being replaced with a 16 meg instead of being a 64K. Nice thing to have. Let me turn this back off because I don't need it now. So, let me step off camera for a little bit, and I'll be back once we're a little closer to the completion of the Endstone quest. While I was waiting for that quest, I did some digging around and realized that I now have, I think I have enough mushroom soup to hand in this quest. So let's look at the number. The number looks like it's asking for 16 kilo buckets of fungus soup. Looks like I've got 44, which tells me a couple of things. First, I really need to come out here and shut this machine off because I don't need any more mushroom soup. So, I think the easiest way for me to shut this off is just to pull the power plug. There, that's done. And now, I need to set up some export. So, you guys have seen me do this before, but I'm going to do it one more time, just for grins. This is a fluid export bus, and it will only export to the top of a drum. So, I'm going to use my pickaxe, separate this drum, and because I'd like to put this in another location, I'm going to move that. I want to put it here, so I can place my drum directly underneath it. Now, yep, hasn't been done yet. I just wanted to make sure I hadn't messed something up. QDS? Nope. No, my QDS is downstairs. So, I'm going to make another one. It's very nice that you can make multiple quest delivery systems and use them however you'd like. And interestingly enough, it gives you your book back when you do this. So, it's easy enough to just make a couple QDSs and have them lying around for when you decide you need to submit multiple quests simultaneously. So, I'm going to only need one of them in this process. Now, I would like a fluid duct. You've seen me go through this before. I would like a servo. I would like a bucket of fungus drippings, which I don't have. So let's grab an empty bucket. And let's ask for a bucket of mushroom soup. Pink mushroom soup bucket. Easy enough. So, 2 steps to this process. First, we set this up to put mushroom soup in our drum. And because I'd like this to occur as quickly as I can reasonably get the system to go, I'll do it like that. And then I would like a fluid duct to be attached to the bottom. The easiest way to do that is to put it on some other block. Is this filling? It doesn't seem to be filling with mushroom soup at the moment. I wonder why it's not filling with mushroom soup. Is there a mushroom soup drum? There can be mushroom soup in a drum, and there is officially the mushroom soup name fluid. Interesting. There's no can. Well, let me try something else. Just go with a mariculture fluid tank for the moment and see if the problem lies in the export bus or if it lies in the drum somehow. Let's go ahead and, like I said, put the mariculture tank in here. Yep, it immediately filled with. So, I'm going to put this right here. I can't because there's a slab in the way. that's easy enough. Between this episode and next, I'm going to set up a permanent system for returning fluids, just like I have a system downstairs for returning solids. It'll make it a lot easier for me to do this, and you're not going to have to see me go through this process again on camera. So, first thing that I want to do before I pump fluid soup out is select this task and bind this QDS to it. So now that quest delivery system is tied to the mushroom soup task. And then I do this. And checking the quest, we are definitely dumping mushroom soup in there relatively rapidly. So that's 2 quests that are in the process of being completed, and the Endstone quest is 24% done. Almost 25. That's nice. So, like I said, I'll be back in just a little bit once these things are ready. So, while I am waiting for that quest to complete, I decided I'd use up a little bit more time. As you see, I'm about halfway done. Doing a little bit of Thaumcraft work. Specifically, I would really like to hand in the Thaumic Minions quest. So, I've got to make a bunch of golems. Let me grab myself, let me get some stuff out of my immediate hotbar, because I need buckets of water. Actually, let me get rid of this and this. I don't need them right now. So, the first steps to getting this is getting together the things you need. Straw golems get hay bales, wood golems get great wood logs, flesh golems get blocks of flesh, clay golems get bricks, stone golems get stone bricks, iron golems get blocks of iron, but there's 2 others. There is the, let me pull back up my Thaunomicon. There is the tallow golems, which are made from magic tallow blocks, which are made from combining magic tallow like this, which is rotten flesh in a crucible with 2 precantatio. And thaumium golems, which are made from thaumium block, thaumium ingots, iron in with 4 precantatio. So, actually, I didn't get that right. So, there is the stack for the precantatio, and I'm going to split it in half because it seems like a good idea to me. I can't quite split it in half. Anyway, so what I need to do is this. This is all going to be crucible work, so I need buckets of water to fill the crucible, and I'm going to start with the tallow. So I'm going to toss water in, and as soon as this bubbles, up here seems fine to me right now. There, it's bubbling. I am going to drop 18 netherwort. Not like that. Which is going to give me enough precantatio. 18 and 18. And then I'm going to drop 9 rotten flesh in, and I should get myself back 9 magic tallow. Now, I should probably go ahead and put on my goggles of revealing while I'm doing this, just so that I can see what's going on. And I need a wand. Once you finish doing this work with the crucible, it's a really good idea to just go ahead and, I thought it was shift right click with a wand. Once again, what I got was liquid taint, and not a huge amount of it, but enough to be annoying. So I'm going to go ahead and clean that up by placing blocks in it, like so. Now, for me it's a little bit of a risk to try dropping 36 netherwort in at the same time, but what the heck, might as well try it, right? What's the worst that can happen? Well, everything could blow up and I could die. No, Thaumcraft isn't that rough. The worst that could happen is I could get some of my thaumium out, but not all of it. So, bubble, bubble, boil and trouble. Toss in my netherwort, 36, just like I needed, and toss in my iron ingots, which return as thaumium. So, now I'm going to actually use this as a crafting table. It just seems more appropriate. Grab my my tallow block, and my thaumium block. So, now, that is 8 golems, and my quest book calls for 8 golems. Easy enough. Good. So now I have the blocks necessary for all of them. And I'm not going to show you making all of them on screen. I'm going to show you one in just a moment once I collect the ingredients. But note, all of the golems either take 4 Humanus, 4 Modus, or 4 Spiritus, or if they're off to the right here, so basically these 3 are all going to take 8 of each of the above. So let me collect together the things that I'm going to use in the Crucible, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm going to do 4 golems at the same time because I'm a crazy man. Not that crazy really, but like to goof around. So each guest here has 4 Spiritus on it. It's a really good source. Each rubber bar has 2 Modus on it, and each rotten flesh has 1 Humanus on it, and just about the best source I could find. So I've got enough here to make these 4 golems. Let's see how well it works. It's possible that doing it in this kind of bulk will get me in a certain kind of trouble, but I did not get my straw golem back out of that deal. So it looks like I just went a little too far with things. But at least I only got Gaseous Taint out of the deal. So that's basically my process, and clearly I can't put quite that much stuff in, but I'm going to do the rest of these columns, and I'll be back. Okay, folks, so I have finished making those golems. Here they are, all in my inventory. I also went and stole the brain in a jar from my Wither Skeleton farm and grabbed some zombie brains, and I figure I can submit that quest as well while I'm working on it. So that's a manual submit here, and I'll claim the default reward because there's no other choices. At the moment I have no significant use for wood golems, but I might as well toss them in here. That Thaumium golem, and we shall see what is in the bag. ME cable and some precision buses. Good. That's a wonderful thing for me to have. Not significantly special, but wonderful. Now, let's consume that heart. And let's go ahead and put this green heart canister in place, and that will give me 1 more life. I like it. So, next, we will submit the brains quest, manual submit. Again, I'm going to get another green heart canister. I'm going to get another heart and a greater reward bag, which contains 64 files of a whole bunch of Essentia. Herba, Potentia, Instrumentum, Ordo, Modus, Perdito, and Census, each of which has 8 in it. So that's a great addition to the next time I need to do some crafting over here. So, we've also finished with the end stone. Well, almost finished. It's ticking down the last couple. I think there's actually been a little bit of a glitch down there. Let me go and see. Probably a stack of ender pearls will solve the problems. Let's see. Yep, this is full of enderium, but not quite enough to fill it. So, while that's doing, let's go check the status of this quest. Yep, 96%. So, I'm going to let this finish, and I'll be back with the last piece of this episode today. See you in a minute, folks. There we go, folks. That's well over the line. I'm going to take all that end stone back into my inventory, and since this is done, I'm going to remove that connector so that it's not pumping any more in here. So let's go ahead and drop those 2 quests off. I'll go with the flow. Nope, not there. Go with the flow. Yep, is going to give us the fungus strippings, and I'll take the right hand reward bag, which gives me an epic bag, some spawn mushrooms, which have a valid name, that's good, and 2 full hearts. Not going to open the bag quite yet till I have a little space in my inventory, which I'll produce by going back here to For the Hoarding and dropping off the not the end. Manual submit. I don't want an Ender Dragon egg, so I'm going to claim that reward. Full heart. I'm going to drop off the spawn. And what the heck, the 2 Enderfish, the Ender Lily. It would be a wonderful thing if I had a shortage of Ender Pearls, but I do not. So I'm going to open these 2 epic reward bags and see what I get. One gave me a lava crystal, a necrotic bone, a ball of moss. These are all wonderful things for adjusting tools in Tinker's Construct. I don't think I need any of them. The ball of moss is probably the most useful to me. And the other, going to give me 4 blood runes. Not all that wonderful. But there we go, folks. That episode's complete, and I will see you next time. Have a good one. Hope you enjoyed the episode.